In this special presentation, Grand Chief Mike Delisle addresses the community on the issues of membership and residency.
Given recent events that have happened in and around the community for most of the summer, probably starting in July, we're compelled to bring you a message, and as the spokesperson of the table, the Mohawk Council of Kahnawake has asked me to share some thoughts, perspective, a bit of history on the current membership/residency issue that's upon us once again. Seems to raise its head, good, bad, and ugly, every several years. If people will recall, just a brief history, 4 years ago, the Mohawk Council of Kahnawake delivered letters, hand-delivered to the majority of the people on a list of people who are residing in the community illegally. At the time we named it non-eligibility to reside in Kahnawake. Had support, if you want to call it that, from the then Minister of Indian Affairs, Chuck Strahl, although we weren't seeking it, on the front page of the National Post saying we have every right to do so as First Nations communities, territories, reservations as they're sometimes called, are for Native peoples across Canada. No different here in Kahnawake. I think the only difference here in Kahnawake is that we've been very vocal and active over the course of at least the last 33 years and probably much longer than that, trying to assure that the community, the territory, and our property is again for the mutual benefit of Kahnawake and no one else. It's been extremely difficult. It's obviously emotional. There are many people involved in this and obviously has ramifications far and wide. I'm sure every family and/or community member has a vested interest in this, and it creates obvious problems that I don't need to get into personal and otherwise. Like I said, it's a very emotional issue. People are aware, hopefully, that next Tuesday, September 16th, at the Knights of Columbus, starting at 7 o'clock, we're going to be holding the community meeting, this time specifically targeting this issue of membership/residency. We're going to be calling it a community engagement process because there's obviously division in the community. As people who have read the Eastern Door, have spoken to several chiefs, maybe personally, know that there's division at the table as well. I'm not going to say split because it's just division based again on political and personal positioning of what this issue means to everybody in and around the community. And as I've stated before, and it's obviously reflected right now, that we are a reflection of community because there's division within Kahnawake as well. So just to go back a little bit in terms of history, at least in recent history, the moratorium of 1981, May 22nd specifically, was the date set in time by community and the Mohawk Council to say if you're married out after that, meaning married someone that's of non-Indigenous lineage, not only from Kahnawake, that you must leave the territory. That moratorium turned into law after a couple more years of consultation in 1984. Those were both repealed when the 2003 Kahnawake membership law was put into place, but the sentiment still remains within the current law. So even though 81 has passed, 84 has passed, obviously, the community still believes that that should be the principle within the law in 2003. We've held since then, and more recently in the past 2 years, upwards of 20 consultations through the community decision-making process. Kahnawake Legislative Coordinating Committee has committed to this and has gone into community. And not once has the issue been raised to say, we need to include non-natives with the ability to live here. The law does talk about non-member residency, and there are people on that list, so to speak, at the registry office here in Kahnawake today. But no one has come forward to say that the law must change in terms of allowing non-natives to live here, and that's documented. Until recently, obviously, like I said, over the past couple of months and into the summer. This has bigger implications to other files as well, and I know it's not the preoccupation of a lot of community members, but I think it's relevant and people need to know some of that, not only in terms of history. We're engaged with the federal government on the Seigneury of Sault St. land grievance, land claim as Canada would call it, upwards of 10 years now at the negotiation table. Issues such as membership, again, raise its head there as well in the form of beneficiary, meaning the people, once this claim is settled, who become beneficiaries of the settlement claim, as well as ratification, meaning the people who would be allowed to vote. We're still in the throes of those legal issues and legal points at the table, so we're not prepared to declare position on it at this point, but it does have repercussions and will have long-term ramifications depending on what the community decides. If people are not aware, the difference between who is considered a Mohawk of Kahnawake according to Canada versus who we consider a Mohawk of Kahnawake listed on the Kahnawake Kanien'kehá:ka registry is approximately 4,000 people. So for argument's sake, if we're 6,500 here, they're 10,005 in Ottawa. This has been helped through many court cases, more recently the MacGyver court case in British Columbia that went all the way to the Supreme Court of Canada, opening the doors, so to speak, in quotation marks, on becoming not only a Mohawk of Kahnawake, but a First Nations person, a native across Canada. So it's had repercussions here. The other file that it has major implications towards is the Kahnawake-Canada relationship table, and the two major components, the only components of that negotiation, actually it's not even negotiations, this discussion at this point, is membership and lands, because they're obviously tied at the hip and very dear to everything that's we hold in Kahnawake dear. So we've had discussions with Canada over the course of the last 2 years to try and come to their aid and lessen the burden, if you will call it that, in terms of membership, because we're one of the last holdouts. So they're looking for answers from us. They opened the door in terms of that liability when MacGyver passed through Supreme Court and demanded that the Indian Act get revised and changed to, again, allow some of these people who we would never consider Mohawks of Kahnawake with very little lineage to become Mohawks of Kahnawake, and again, across the country, not just affecting Kahnawake. So those are two of the main files that this thing would affect. So again, one of the reasons why we're looking to engage community on the 16th of September. There's been several community actions, I think beginning with the protest that happened in front of an individual's construction site to stop them building a home. Subsequent demonstrations have happened. There's been meetings between, I'll say, the parties in the community over the course of the last 2 months or so. And we're hoping that not only does it continue in terms of engagement, that it remains, if it hasn't always been, peaceful and respectful. And I think that's the underlying message that we're trying to deliver here today. So those actions have commenced and are continuing. I believe there's going to be a rally this Saturday, September 13th, for the people who are in a position that would not want non-natives living in the community. Again, hoping that remains peaceful and respectful to all involved, and everybody is involved. So again, on the 16th, we're going to be engaging with the community. It's at the Knights of Columbus. We're hoping for a larger group. We're thinking that it's going to be a larger group, so we moved it from the normal place of community meetings as the Golden Age Club to Knights of Columbus. And again, some of the issues that have happened since then, some of the factors that are ensuring that we get this message out to the community continue to unfold. We received, as of yesterday, a mise en demeure legal letter from a lawyer, which means that we've been asked and demanded within 72 hours to change our position or further legal action may be taken. This will be, I'm sure, discussed in the community and at the community meeting much further than today, but we needed to advise community of that. The proper forum to change this is not the outside court, which is what this is demanding. It is through community decision-making process and through the Kahnawake Legislative Coordinating Commission. We've been trying to do that as MCK since 2007, specifically again over the past 2 years or so, specific to changes and amendments to the membership law. This is the proper forum, not an outside court. Kahnawake and the Mohawk Council of Kahnawake obviously will not be changing its position based on this threat. And again, we're imploring the people who have commissioned this lawyer to think twice again, and maybe the third time, because to me and to the Mohawk Council, it's disrespectful, not to us and our process, but community who has set the bar and the direction on this, again, not since 1981, but long before that, but again, in law in '84 and again in 2003. So we're hopeful that something better comes of it than the legal action. I guess in closing, we just want to ensure that everything that happens from here on in and hopefully in the past remains peaceful We're looking for respectful dialogue on the 16th. It will be in a larger venue. I'm sure there will be more people. Emotions will run high, but we're asking everybody, regardless of your viewpoint, regardless of your stance in the position, regardless of if you're implicated or not, that you remain, again, respectful to not only the people you'll be speaking with and to, but to the community in general. This meeting will be open to people registered on Kahnawake Registry. Mohawk Council made this determination today, feeling that because of its emotion, importance, that it be relegated to people that are recognized right now by the Mohawks as Mohawks. There will be another forum sometime in the near future, a date yet to be set, to engage with the people who I guess will feel alienated from the September 16th meeting, because we do want to hear different points of view. Several council members have already mentioned that they've heard different points of view, have attended the different meetings in the community, and have shared some of that perspective. So we are going to be engaging across the board, if you will. But again, we hope that you show up on the 16th. This affects everybody in and around the community. It's very emotional. Please remain respectful, and we hope to see you there.
Grand Chief Mike Delisle Jr. As he speaks on membership, not only on the issue of the law itself and how it affects people, but on some of the files that it will have an effect on and continues to have an effect on, such as the Seigneury of Sault St. Louis. For the most part, the community engagement will begin officially on Tuesday, September 16th. That is the community meeting, so we hope to see many of you there. Thanks for watching.